This is episode number 31 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast with our special guest, James Stratman. Welcome to the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. My name is Jeff Thornton, alongside my co-host, Michael Anders. Each week, we bring you an inspiring person or message related to our three pillars of success: manifestation, business, fitness, and nutrition. Our intent is to enrich, educate, and empower our audience to take action, control, and accountability for their decisions. Thank you for allowing us to join you on your journey. Now let's get started. We would like to thank our sponsor, FitAid. If you're serious about your performance and recovery, go with FitAid. FitAid is the perfect pre- and post-workout supplement product. If you're dragging pre-workout, FitAid contains natural ingredients to give you that boost and pick-me-up you need without the jittery effect. And if you're looking for recovery after your workout, FitAid has branched-chain amino acids or BCAAs, L-glutamine, L-arginine, vitamin C and D3, glucosamine, turmeric, CoQ10, and raw organic agave to accommodate the glycogen window and provide your body with a complete and clean recovery. Be sure to give them a try at lifeaidbevco.com, your local gym, or a grocery store near you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 31 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. As usual, Mike Anders here with my co-host Jeff Thornton, and our guest today is James Stratman.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What up, James?
Of Peak Nutrition, fresh from St. Louis. What's going on, brother? Thanks for joining us today.
Dude, absolutely. I'm stoked to be here. This is my first podcast.
No kidding?
I've never been on a podcast, and I listen to them all the time. So right now I'm just like, oh, this is so cool.
It's really hard to mess up, so
Yeah.
you're in good hands. For those of us who don't know who you are or have not yet been exposed to the Peak Nutrition movement, tell them a little bit about yourself, where you're coming from, and kind of what led you out to the desert, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started Peak Nutrition up in St. Louis 2012. I was actually working at another supplement store with a couple buddies. We decided, same old business thing. Hey, we can do this bigger and better ourselves, right? We can do this the right way. Mm-hmm. I won't go through the whole journey, but basically along that path there, it ended up being just me. You always start with a couple business partners, how a lot of places do, and I'm still good friends with all those guys. But, at one time it just got to a place where there can only be one chief.
Right.
You can't have 8 captains running the boat. So, and it only was a short 4 years, really. And there's a really big player in the St. Louis market, supplement superstores, and they also own First Form. So it's a huge national brand. They just happen to be from St. Louis. It's just a happenstance. And just recently, I basically partnered up with them, right? So I knew I wanted bigger and better, and him and I were fighting over this little space in St. Louis. And we just came together, and I was sitting around looking at a board, and it was almost just like throwing darts, right? Where am I going to go? I'd been to a couple different cities, and I fell in love with it out here. I mean, fell in love with Phoenix. So we're right now in the process of getting a store open. Nice. We're right now in the process of just getting a team together, getting everything going. And one of the first people that I met out here was Mike, right? Came out here, started going to CrossFit PHX. And now I'm on a podcast. So there's the abbreviated story.
Sure, man. A lot of the guests that we have on the show, some of our defining criteria is that synergy and that energy. We speak the same language, we read the same books, we live life on this same wavelength. You know what I mean? And that's something that was an immediate attraction for me, and I knew that we had to get you on the show. But also, you're our first guest in the supplement space.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. So I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Your industry in its entirety, I know you feel the same way about Peak Nutrition the same way I feel about CrossFit PHX. Mm-hmm. You don't see the other companies in your space as competition because you're so busy doing you. Mm-hmm. So I won't use the word competitors, but the other guys in your industry, there's there's the good, the bad, the ugly, and
Don't bullshit around it.
and the even
don't bullshit
worse.
around it.
You know, so like you have a very tainted industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so in your mind's eye, and we can kind of dance back and forth in and out of this one. What is it that got you started, and what is it that about Peak Nutrition that separates you from all the rest?
You know, it's so funny because talking exactly about like the industry. I mean, it is like it's the industry that you can call the snake oil. I mean,
Right.
it absolutely is. And I hate it when other people in the industry try to bullshit and say that it's not. It absolutely is. And so when I started, and I was telling you, I actually worked for. I'll go ahead and throw him under the bus. I don't care.
Yeah.
I worked at Max Muscle.
Okay.
And I knew from exactly what we were doing that we were doing it the wrong way, right? It was short-term lived business based on selling things for the profit, not for the result.
Right.
And so I knew this, obviously, if you're into sports nutrition, if you're really into fitness, you know, what we were told was like we had to sell X number of fat burner pills every week. And if we didn't, you know, we didn't hit our commissions. And if you really know anything about business, you can get away with something like that every once in a while. You can sell a shitty car to someone at a used car dealership, but they'll never come back to you.
Right.
They're never going to come back. You can be a great salesman and you can do that, but you're never going to have repeat business. And so I knew when we were doing things, you know, the customers that came back were the ones that I got to talk to. I got to get them, let's say a lady who came in, right? I could have just sold her, hey, this is the magic pill. Let's get you on this fat burner. 30 days, we're going to drop 10 pounds. But that was because she's shitting her brains out. You know what I mean? So we got her on a detox too. But if I sat down with her and I got her on a good meal program, you know, she's never going to eat that much meat, so she's taking a protein supplement, right, to get how much protein she needs in a day. I gave her, you know, a pre-workout that she felt good on and was then motivated to go to the gym. It's not the pre-workout that does it. It just, you know, basically manipulates her mind to get you to go.
It's the catalyst.
Exactly.
Right.
Because a lot of, most people, it's hard to get up and just say, I'm going to go to the gym, right?
Right.
Or I'm going to eat this right way. So if I could do that where I basically made less money on that transaction,
Right.
she's going to come back.
Right.
I mean, she saw results from that, right? Like, and I got to explain to her, hey, in a month, the scale may not move at all, but come back in, I'll do your body fat. Her body fat's down 2%, right? Because she's taken increased protein consumption. She's hit the gym 3 times a week, just barely getting in there. But you see results and consistent results, right? That same word that we'll talk about a million times.
Right.
Consistently see that over time. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, that's what I have to be able to do. I have to be able to have a supplement nutrition store where that's the focus, right? When somebody comes in and they say, what kind of, I want a big stimulant, I want a fat burner and stuff. Dude, that's awesome. What are you taking now? What are you doing? Like, what does your food look like? Let me steer them into where I know is the best place to go.
Sure.
And that's why so many supplement stores, they're worse than gyms, worse than anything. Pop up, be down in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? But that's why. Because you can make a ton of money real quick. You really can.
Sure.
But those guys, they never last. You know what I mean? They just don't. And and I'll be honest, a lot of that philosophy I got from the guys that I've just recently partnered with.
Sure.
Andy Vasilla, the First Form, the whole team up there. They have the same way of thinking. Really, it's like, did I steal part of it from them? Probably.
Yeah.
But, I had my way that I did it, and then teaming up with them was a lot easier than afterwards.
Sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. But, as far as the industry, I've seen some stuff that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, was amazed at how shady and shitty that people can
Really?
do. Things that I would anticipate a drug dealer to do.
No kidding.
Like, I'm going to cut this with
Wow.
some other type of inactive, ingredient.
Baking soda in your creatine.
Oh man, you
Yeah.
wouldn't believe it.
Sure.
And it's good now that there's a little bit. What's helping is the internet.
Right.
you have an open source of information.
Yeah, sure.
Right, where people can share and say, hey, this or that or whatever. That's helped a lot. But still, behind closed doors, people can get away with this stuff.
Right.
And then it takes time of people taking it and there being a review and whatever.
Right.
But I have been to, and let me make sure that I don't lie here, 18 now different manufacturing facilities.
Okay.
Because I started my own supplement line, and you start that by co-manufacturing.
Okay.
You go to places, and they make it for you.
Right.
You have to come up with the formula, and
Okay.
they'll work with you, but they do it, co-packing and stuff. And yeah, through a total process now of 18 of them, and I'll tell you what, 15 were enough to where, like, myself looking at it, I was like, no way.
Wow.
I
Really?
couldn't put my name on it. No way.
Sure.
I wouldn't. Yeah, there's no way. I saw some stuff that I was like, I wouldn't have that in my own kitchen.
Sure.
That's crazy. So do you find it like you see a lot of? Well, I'll just reference like the John Jones of the world, where they take, or it's just a performance athlete where they take a supplement and they ultimately get popped for a proprietary blend, so to speak. Do you see that's coming from like the manufacturing?
So they get popped for an ingredient in it?
In an ingredient
Right.
in it
Yeah.
that's sort of masked in that proprietary blend that wasn't on the label, so to speak?
Well, here's the issue with that, and this is what I actually believe about that. I'm a very strong libertarian in this sense that, like, that is up to you. It is literally your responsibility to find these things out. Now, as long as it's on the label, right? As long as they're telling you, like, this is in there, do your due diligence.
Right.
Go through and go find these things. There's now that product that was kind of vaguely, it wasn't actually banned. If you guys remember, it was called DMAA, 1,3-dimethylene. This is, honestly, I mean it has the same neurological and physiological effect as very close to like crack.
Right.
I mean, it
kidding.
seriously is very intense.
Is that what they pulled out of Jack 3D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was the best.
This is what got pulled out of Jack 3D.
Yeah.
Well, it never actually became illegal or banned. What happened is that someone died on it, and then insurance companies aren't going to cover it,
Right.
right? So if you have this ingredient, that insurance company isn't going to cover your facility. It's not going to cover your product or whatever. So people quit carrying it. Well, now you just got some ballsy guys.
It just comes down to money, man.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
But it's back in the industry now.
Right.
Very recently back.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm of the belief I carried it in my stores in St. Louis.
Sure.
Is you inform the customer, tell them, like, hey, this is in here. I like taking that stuff.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Sure, bring it on. I
Yeah.
want to fly through the day. But I'm also, a 30-year-old and relatively healthy male that, understands not to take over and under.
Right.
There's certain people you got to know you can't give this to them.
Right.
And that kind of stuff right there you can get popped for.
Yeah.
But I also, I'm not competing for anything. I'm
Right.
not in a show or something like that. So if you are doing those things, do your due diligence.
Sure.
They give you a very specific list. The NCAA does of what you can
Right.
and what you can't take.
Right.
Use reputable brands.
Sure.
I mean, that's a big thing. Companies that say, like, yeah, this is in here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Not asking you to call anybody out, but even within those reputable brands, there's still some questionable products that are more driven by marketing than they are results.
Right.
Absolutely.
Would you say that's true?
Absolutely. But the thing about that is I think it's the reverse. Them not putting in enough stuff or not putting in the good stuff. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
This is kind of different. It's,
Yeah.
Sure.
The difference between like putting something in there that's going to give you these crazy results but might be bad for you.
Right.
Versus it just not having enough of the stuff you need
Right.
to help you out. So what we call this in the industry is fairy dusting, pixie dusting, some people call it that, right? So you can, on the back of a label, list the 9,000 ingredients you have in it,
Yeah.
but the effective dosing on it, you're not even 1/100th of the way there.
Not even close.
Yeah, right? So one of the big things that it matters with, so branched chain amino acids,
Sure.
a very good product, right? If you have a 10-to-1 ratio of a branched chain amino acid for almost any athlete, endurance athletes, people that are strength athletes, it can be very beneficial for you. But you have to be taking enough of it for it to actually matter.
Right.
Like this is the same. It really is the same as saying like you need to have 200 grams of protein a day, and then going somewhere and it's 5 grams of protein. You know, it wouldn't do anything for you.
Right.
So that's what I think sometimes happens with the big guys.
Yeah.
Right. Is you need to look at the back and make sure that when it says it's got X, Y, and Z in it, that it has a full dose of X, Y, and Z in it. And that's where you said it, the proprietary blends. Yeah. That's where you fall down at.
Oh, okay.
Right. That because you can hide it.
Right.
In this pump volume matrix 9,000, and it's got 9 grams, but 8 of the 9 grams is potassium chloride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter too terribly much.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a big one that you see a lot, even from the big guys.
That's crazy. And how do you sort of like educate the industry on that? Because I remember when I was playing college ball, I was always, like you said, doing the due diligence, looking at what was legal or banned substances, and then matching it with the supplements I was taking. But then, when you're in college, you can't always afford like the peak nutrition type of brands, the brands that are quality. So you go to Walmart and you see like Body Fortress for, $14 and you end up buying the junk and you find out it's just like crap on your body. How do you sort of educate people to move towards the quality instead of just going for the stuff that you can just buy just because it's affordable?
You know what I always tell people is they get too excited about getting the full stack or something of these supplements that they need, right? Is like what you're saying, you took your supplements, it's always plural. It's these a big group of things. It really isn't that expensive to have quality stuff if you really just start with basics. So I'll be cheesy and I'll go ahead. So Peak Nutrition, our little logos, it's a triangle. And when you come in, we have a triangle of what are necessary supplements. Yeah. Right? So at the very bottom, it's like an isolate protein. Like there's no need to jump up and go take a creatine or or branched chain amino acids or a fat burner or any of these other things, a pre-workout even. Just get that. Like just start there, right? This is like somebody coming in, to your gym here and they can't sit down in a full squat, but they want to do overhead squats. You know what I mean? There's a base. Just start there. Sure. Do that. You know what I mean? And what is it? I mean, it's, 30 some odd bucks for a jug of isolate protein. Yeah. And really the reason why you're taking it is because, and honestly, like it's difficult to get high quality protein in 5 to 6 times a day. Right. It just is. This is what I tell everyone. If for an entire year you can eat 5 perfect meals a day with 5 full loads of vegetables, you can eat lean meats every single day and get healthy fats in, there's probably no reason for you to come into my supplement store. Right. I mean, it's just the truth. Sure. I just know for a fact you're not doing that. Right. I mean, the NFL athletes are not doing that. Right. And they have chefs at home. Right. Like it just doesn't work. We've all got jobs. We got things that we do, and so that's the whole point of supplements. Is like if you can eat and train all year long like that, you don't need to walk into my store. Right. And it wouldn't make sense. You'd be throwing money away. Right. But I just know for a fact that every once in a while you have a sluggish day. So maybe a pre-workout is going to help you out a little bit. Right. Yeah. Maybe having a protein shake, it's going to fill those gaps for you a little bit. Right. And then if you're consistently doing those things, then throwing in something like creatine, which has a ton of good research behind it, that's okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just either way, that's the philosophy of it. Right? Okay, I like that. That's how I like to describe. It should be the basis of what I call fitness, right? So exercise and nutrition. Right. That's it. Right. That makes fitness. Supplements just kind of help bridge a gap if you're weak on one or the other. Sure. Right. If you're having an issue somewhere, if you have joint issues, glucosamine chondroitin, take it for a couple months. It's going to help your joints a little bit. Yep. But only if you have that issue. Right. Or maybe your family has an issue and you would need to start taking something like that preemptively. Yeah.
Right on. So the vision for Peak Nutrition, you had 6 stores at one point.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
You're about to open. You're essentially starting from scratch out here. Yeah. Once you launch number 1, what's next?
So while you're saying it, I can hear how weird that sounds, right? So yeah, it took me 3.5 years to open up 6 stores in St. Louis.
Which I would think is pretty fast.
Super fast.
Okay.
It's quick.
Very, very quick. Didn't sleep for 3.5 years. But so I had to let go of that. Because like I said, what I did was, we merged.
Sure.
Right? So then coming out here, I almost don't like giving this info away, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to march through this town.
Right.
I really am.
Sure.
And I know I'm going to be able to because I can, and when we talk about the competitors or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And this is not me. I don't like to put other people down. That's not at all it is.
Right.
There's some stuff out here. Actually, I'll go ahead and use their name. The One Stop Nutrition. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Right? It's like a smoothie bar, really. You go in to go get like a cool smoothie or whatever, and they have supplements.
Right.
Right? So it's easy. It's convenient, right? There's a reason why gas stations are so successful.
Right.
You got to get gas, and then while you're in there, hell, I'll get my milk while I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, sure, whatever. I get the model, right? But that's, to me, is, why we are so different. Is like the people that come in, what we also do is, my first thing down here was not to start marketing Peak Nutrition. I found a good CrossFit gym. I found a couple of good personal trainers. Because we get a lot of people that come in that don't go to a gym. They don't work out right now, and they start with supplements.
Right.
Right? That's where they're – because think about it.
Very common.
It's easy.
Right.
Right? That's the easy place. It's hard to start cooking better. It's hard to start going to a gym. It's easy to walk into somewhere and buy a bottle of pills.
You have the magic pill.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
Right.
But if I find these other people, like you, Anderson, seriously, exactly like you, that I can talk to this person, have a conversation with them, and I can just take their little hand and walk them down over here. Then I've introduced them to someone else who's going to help their fitness level. I'm going to help them out with their nutrition. Then they're going to see legitimate results. And, without it sounding completely terrible, they're my customer for life.
Right.
Sure.
100%. Like, they're with me forever.
Right.
Because I really took care of them.
Yeah.
And it's that little bit of extra time and effort. Every single one of my employees has to be through NASM, a certified personal trainer, a certified nutritionist. They go through our, a rigorous 200 question test about supplements and about, what exactly the customer needs.
Right.
So it's rigorous. I mean, it takes a while. Then there's a multitude of books they have to go through. I know no one else puts that painstaking process. And what we'll end up doing is it's different than selling some. It's creating a culture of people, right? That also understand what we're trying to do.
Sure.
We really want. I use this analogy all the time. We want to build people that it's now more fun for them to go do something fitness-minded on the weekend than go out and have a couple beers.
Sure.
It's a weird thing, but it really is. Like, you can turn someone who's like their pastime is to go get shit-faced on a Friday to want to go hiking on a Saturday.
Right.
And it's cool. It's cool to see somebody make that change.
Yeah.
And not that, believe me, I like a good beer.
Oh, yeah. Huge fan.
Yeah, huge fan. But I like seeing that change in people as a mental shift. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And we can do that, and it works really, really, really well.
And that's what I dig about what you're doing through Peak Nutrition, because you have a process, much like we do here at PHX. With our interns turned coaches, like everybody has to learn that stuff. It doesn't do you any good to just push supplements on people.
Yeah.
What are the easy ones? Well, let's see. We're gonna create a stack for you.
Yeah, stack.
You obviously need some protein. Go ahead and throw some BCAAs in there. We're just gonna push all the hot buttons. You need a fat burner, some creatine, and let's go ahead and get the pre-workout in there too.
Yeah.
And now you're good to go. Now you're probably in that $300 spent. You're overspending by $275.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. It's so funny you said we don't have stacks.
Right.
I've never understood the stack.
Sure.
Right? It's like somebody coming into a grocery store and having a grocery stack.
Yeah.
What do you?
It's a huge upsell.
What does that mean? Over here, this comes with eggs, cereal, a TV,
the breakfast stack.
Yeah, what? I don't understand this. That is clearly so cookie cuttering people.
Right.
It's. I mean, you're almost selling it on the value that it's a cookie cutter program.
Right.
Like, it blows me away. So just it's the exact opposite of that.
Sure.
I love this phrase, take pride in your inefficiencies, right? So when somebody comes in, it would be more efficient for us to have a stack.
Sure.
That if you're this looking young bro, dude, here you go. There you go. In and out the door. Clock them, check them, get them going. Do the opposite of that, right? When they come in, talk to them. What do they do? Why are they actually in here? I mean, do they want to get more fit, or do they have, they're going on a vacation in 2 months, so they just want to lose a couple pounds? These are two different people that need two different things.
Yes.
Right? Like, what is their, not why, but the deep why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is their real goal? Why are they wanting to change something?
Right.
Because if they're coming into my store, they want something changed. They're not coming in there to just throw away some money.
Right.
And so, take pride in your efficiencies. Just have 3 people working in the store instead of 1, which you can get away with, and bang them and clang them. Spend some time with them. Talk to them. Every single customer that comes in, we go through their entire diet. Every single time. We sit down, tell me what you ate today, tell me what you're eating this week, go through the entire thing, and then we're going to look through it and see where we need to fill some stuff in. I'll tell you what we ended up selling a ton of are multivitamins, because how many people eat no fruits and vegetables?
Right.
Yeah.
When I say none, I mean like
Zero. Yeah.
It amazes me.
Sure.
I had, I guess I just kind of grew up that I just, like, fruit was kind of like the snack or something.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it, the big buzzword in both our industries right now is macros.
Yeah. Macros.
But the important shit, is the micros.
Yeah.
And all the micros come from fucking fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So by not getting those, that's where the value of a multivitamin comes in. But I think it's such a buzzword now that while it's super important, is so overlooked.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that you're getting enough protein, carbs, and fats.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not going to worry about your B vitamins, your vitamin A, your vitamin D, your vitamin K. Like, all that shit helps hormones
Work.
Process the macros.
So I have this conversation a lot, right? Guys come in, and you're right. Macros is a big the buzzword. The other big one is testosterone.
Yeah.
Like, testosterone is the how do I don't want to take steroids. I need to increase my test.
Everybody has low T.
Everybody has low T, which is really weird because
you are massive.
Yeah.
You lift 600 for reps. I'm pretty sure you're not starving.
Yeah, and the
testosterone.
And what's funny is, for thousands of years, everybody's had plenty of testosterone, but the late '90s hit, and it's like everyone's out of testosterone. It's all gone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So, but what I do end up telling people is, like, it's not. You don't have low T, man. When was the last time you ate anything that grew out of the earth? You do know that functionally all of your I'll use a couple of direct terms, your luteinizing hormones, your sex hormones, everything that's going to, so this is your testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, estrogen, progesterone, which all matter for men and for women. You have to have a regulated amount of these micronutrients for them to properly function.
Sure.
So, you can call it a low T or something, but actually you probably just need more vitamin C. You need more vitamin D. Those things to make everything else functionally work.
Right.
And it's hard drilling that into people sometimes. It's like, so like what we said, we go through people's diet, and what I'll do is I'll tell them, like, you need to have this many servings of, fruits and vegetables, and a lot more vegetables. I use a 4-to-1 ratio, so 4-to-1 vegetables to fruit.
Sure.
That's okay.
Everybody's a little bit different there.
Yeah.
The reason for that is
The sugar.
Yeah. I'm going to do so many different, like, I'm like a river just going everywhere here.
Yeah.
I think a big issue that a lot of people do have is that they just want to lose body fat, right? And I try to be realistic with people, do you know what I mean? And they want to see results. So I do like to minimize the amount of fast digesting carbohydrates in people's diets.
Right.
Because that really is where a big issue of, that excess weight really does come from.
Right.
So fruits, although they might taste a little better, do you know what I mean? You get way too much sugar out of it.
Right.
So, but they can be used at the right times. So either way, so what we'll do is I'll tell people, you got to eat this much and this much at this time. And I can just see on their face, like, that ain't going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, they're not going to eat those tomatoes. That's not, there's no spaghetti squash happening. Like, this is not going to happen. So that's why I know, like, I'm going to write it out in there. But I'm going to tell them, like, hey, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you, like, you need a multivitamin. Mm-hmm. Just take it. You're going to feel better, I promise.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's so weird because it's such a common thing, but it's a hard sell to the 18-year-old bro.
Yeah, it's true, dude.
It's
freaking true.
I got to take a what?
Right.
I mean, but if I can get them to do it, they'll come back.
Sure.
Yeah.
They'll come back.
No, go ahead.
So your process, I'm not a lifetime customer yet. I walk into your store for the first time. How long is that interaction?
Honestly, and I can say by looking, so if I looked at you walking in, it's going to be a long one. You're going to be there half an hour.
Sure.
For sure.
Right.
Because at first I can already tell, like, you're fit.
Right.
Right. So you kind of like, you have a purpose, right? You're coming in there for a thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we're going to have a conversation about what kind of workouts you're doing. You probably most likely, like, looking at you, there's something that you're not getting to. There's something you're not accomplishing, right? Like, I want to be a little stronger. I don't know, this isn't happening the way I want it to.
Right.
Which usually comes down to recovery. I think that most people are just like aren't recovering properly.
Ding, ding.
Yeah. I mean, it's seriously, look at a guy like you, and I'm like, probably overtraining. I mean, if not overtraining, you know what? I actually don't like the word overtraining a lot. You're under recovering.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I do think
those are two totally different things.
Two totally different things.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, so it's your sleep and how much you're eating. And, you run this business.
You're right.
Your stress level, I actually do consider stress like that.
Sure.
And using your CNS like in a full workload, they're very similar on your body the way that they tax you.
Right.
And so if, you got rich parents and you get to hang out and watch TV all day, train twice a day.
Right.
I don't know. Sure. Hit the gym as much as you want. Without that stress, your body can spend a lot more time recovering.
Yeah.
So usually it's like we need to discuss what is it that's happening. You know what I mean? You're not able to achieve this goal. All right, well, let's talk about – I'll tell you what, a lot of people have problems sleeping. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have problems sleeping. And so we do – there's Irwin Naturals. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
I really like their line. They got a couple of different like sleep aid products that are just like valerian root, melatonin, and their price point on them is where they should actually be. There's a lot of these like sleep products that are like $50 or something, and I don't even know how they're coming up with this number.
Sure. And
the Irwin Naturals, I mean, you're talking like $15-$16 or something for a month supply of. You're good. Have you ever taken like a melatonin product?
Oh yeah.
I love
ZMA
and stuff like that. I love those things, but I'm the same way. Hard to sleep at night.
Right.
So those kind of help you set in a pattern.
Sure.
And that helps with recovery.
Okay.
So that's there's like you're saying you come in. Mm-hmm. There's one go right there.
Yeah.
What's your diet like? Like what are you eating? Do you know what I mean? A lot of times, I think possibly my only critique ever of the CrossFit community is not eating enough.
Sure.
I don't know why.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't think they eat bad.
No.
You're
calorically deficient for the output that you're putting forth.
Absolutely.
I would completely agree with that.
I think that it's I hate labeling things in that way, but like the paleo diet that always follows with CrossFit. As a general outlook, I think it is probably the best in the sense of like if you were trying to follow something. Do you know what I mean? Eat whole foods.
It's easy.
It's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. They're it's categorically simple, black and white, good and bad. Yeah. So for somebody who's, extremely novice in the nutrition game, it's like it's doesn't get any easier than I can do this and I can't do that.
Perfect.
Boom.
And a lot of people don't realize how important that is.
Right.
The ease of use. One of the things that I tell people about CrossFit, how my mentality is coming from, just all the other types of fitness or whatever from the outside looking in, is you go there and you don't have to think.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to really explain it besides that. It's like all you got to do is like pick the time that you show up and someone's coaching you through it. It's on the wall what you got to do. Bust your ass and then leave.
Right.
And I really vibe on that. I really like that. I'll be honest, for me personally, sometimes I find that it's not the most effective because I want to put on size.
Yeah, sure.
Right. I've always been that guy.
Yeah.
Was like 150 pounds out of high school.
Yeah.
I want to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
But most people just actually need to like be healthier and be fitter.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Move better.
Move better. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is by far and away from what I've come across, because you don't have to guess what you're doing in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people I see literally at like LA Fitness, I don't know what they're doing. I know you don't know what you're doing. And I know that you're going to quit after about 20 minutes because it feels awkward. As where they can come in here, and I hate to say it, but it's like brain shut off. It's like, do the thing.
Yeah.
Right? Just do the thing.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Because it's regimented for people. And that's what most people need. Most people are not like us and work in the fitness industry. Like, we're the nerds of this.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can
Yeah.
talk about it.
Sure.
Most people, they live in what I like to call the real world, you know, with like normal jobs and TPS reports. I think that's it.
Yeah.
So, and I love the simplicity of it. And same way with the paleo diet.
Yeah.
Right? You can follow this or that. Now, for me, my diet has to be a little bit different to put on more.
Yeah. Sure.
So one of the biggest things about paleo is that it's a lot of the food is not calorically dense.
Right.
Right?
Nutrient dense.
Nutrient dense.
Not calorically dense.
Which is good.
Right.
For most people.
Right.
But that's what I mean. Sometimes for CrossFitters, like, you kind of need a little more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by and large, based on the traffic through your stores and everything, would you say that the number one reason for somebody to even take on supplementation at all would be to lose weight? Not to get in better shape, but to lose weight. Would you say that's the primary customer that you have initially before they're educated?
So I think that 100% that's what they come in for.
Yes.
Yes. That's absolutely right. They, over the last 5 years, they weigh 20 pounds more than what they did. All of a sudden they saw a picture on their Time Hop or the little Facebook thing from 5 years ago. Holy shit, I didn't realize I look like this now. What can I do today? Go to the supplement store. Right.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I'm very happy when that happens because I know that at least they want to take some type of action, and I can help them really talk through, like, what do we really need to do? You know what I mean? But yeah, I would say weight loss. Yeah, that's probably the big one.
That's interesting because, you know, I really like the model that you're doing with Peak Nutrition, actually, you know, just teaching people about what they actually need in their body, because I speak from experience. Coming up, you got playing football, doing bodybuilding. I wasn't the most knowledgeable guy on those topics. Like, you would see, and that's why I think that there's a disconnect in the industry, because you look in these magazines, you see like the Jake Cutlers of the world saying, you know, this is the supplement. Like, if you want to look like me, try this out. Yeah. Or nowadays, kids are watching a lot of YouTube and they're seeing these people, they're modeling these people who have fantastic bodies and physiques. And what I find interesting is that I saw a girl, she's a famous YouTuber, real fitness, real fit girl, beautiful. But then she comes on the thing yesterday, and people are like, how do you get a body like that? She's like, she comes on and says, I haven't had a period for a year and a half, my period. So she's totally off her menstrual cycle. And you're like, that's an unhealthy thing for a female body to have.
Because her body fat's so low.
Because her body fat's so low. Yep. And people are aspiring to have that type of physique. And looking at the supplements, she's pushing all the supplements because she's sponsored.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lack of information and teaching in the industry where they're getting it from these so-called, you know, knowledge experts, teachers, and prophets in the industry, where they're not coming to guys like you, James, where you can actually understand the science behind it, and that you can teach them the right direction. You know.
Well, but you know, like I said, is that that's going away.
Yeah.
You know, I'll 100% transparent about it. I've never sponsored a bodybuilder or a figure, but whatever, you know, that kind of thing. Right. I never have. Now, my reasoning for doing it, obviously, is business related. Sure. I don't personally believe anymore that people look at some bodybuilder and go like, I can totally do that. That can be all I got to do is have the supplement. Right. I just don't buy that because I don't think that.
Right.
So like we sponsored like firefighters, or you know, like a mom who's kind of like in her 50s who just happened to be pretty jacked and stuff. I think that people can look at that and go, oh, I can do that. Like,
it's attainable.
Yeah, I work at Target, so I got a 9-to-5 job, but I like to go to the gym afterwards. I could do that, right? That makes sense, and that but that's where it's going to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're never going to completely get away of the highly glamorized, super fit. it's why we have famous actors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's never really going to go away. But you can see that we are getting away from that.
Yes.
Sure.
It is slowly moving away.
Well, I mean, if you just, for example, speaking specifically about bodybuilding, if you look at the attendance of the Olympia over the last couple of years, it's on the way down.
Yeah, it's decreased.
You know, because it's become.
By the way, I love that I just made a hand gesture without saying anything. I kind of thought about it as I was doing it. I was like, nobody
can see me.
Not at all. In case, for everybody listening, I made this very strong downward spiral hand motion.
I want you to picture a graph and the line going down.
Reverse hockey stick.
That's what I did with my hand just now. But yeah, it's become the bodybuilding with all of the extra the guys are taking and non-tested shows and stuff like that. Nobody wants to look like that anymore.
No.
You know, it's far and away not what Arnold looked like in his prime.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're.
Oh, and here's what it is. I mean, we figured out how to utilize. Like I did it. They figured out how to manipulate human growth hormone and insulin. Mm-hmm. That's all. That's what this comes down to.
Right.
And I'll speak extensively about steroids. I actually educated myself quite a bit on it, and we don't need to go into all of it. But the most anabolic hormone in the human body is insulin.
Correct.
By far and away. And you find out how to manipulate it the right way, and you can just blow these bodies up.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to look, and nobody wants to feel that way.
Right.
Ever. Could you imagine that? Yeah. I mean, like, it's like being fat again.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Totally.
Your gut sticks over and you can't move, and it just.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, going back to our conversation about being functionally fit, you can have a great aesthetic and not be able to perform.
Yeah.
And that's a disservice to all the work that you've put in to try to look like that. Mm-hmm. Right. So, when you put on all that mass, you become immobile, and there's nothing worse than being in shape and overweight at the same time. Right?
Yeah.
My optimal performance weight is, between 205 and 215. Mm-hmm. And there's a very distinguishable difference in how I feel and how I perform in that window versus south of 205 and over 220. My fucking joints hurt. Yeah. I'm sluggish. My libido's down. Mm-hmm. I had to gain some weight for a stem cell procedure that I had 2 summers ago. Mm-hmm. And through that weight gain process, I pretty much just stopped training, and I had to increase my body fat to move forward with the procedure. And in doing that, like, I still maintain my shape. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I mean, I just felt terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
So you compound that with, just being out of shape in general, right? And it just sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I see a lot of people striving to achieve through naivety and ignorance. And not to say that they're stupid, they're not educated in what they're actually doing to their body.
Well, so to take the corollary, and let me go around. I don't ever dog anybody, though, for wanting to do something.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Let's say somebody does just really want to be an ogre. Like, that is their goal.
Right.
I just want to be 300 pounds. I want to be the big. I mean, it's like how I said about the libertarian idea about kind of everything. Whatever you want to do, dude, do you. You do you, boo-boo.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
If you want to be like a real skinny, kind of model look,
right,
go right ahead. I will advise against those things.
Sure.
Because I don't think that they're the long-term best thing for you.
Right.
And I believe everything kind of long-term is the right way to think about it. But, there are, it's growing, it's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
How many people want that? It used to be a lot.
Yeah.
People
Right.
wanted to be just monsters.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But there is still a certain amount of the population of guys that just, and it is always guys, that just want to be as big as possible.
Sure.
And, but I'm here to help you out too.
Right.
If that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
let's try to get there the safest way possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the interesting part where you see, like, when CrossFit came into the game, is that you see these CrossFit athletes, and they sort of gave people that attainable, real physique that you can achieve. And you started seeing the mindset shift even from my generation, because I grew up where everybody would be super massive, like you're talking about, and I still think like, man, I got to put on more size every day. But now you see the younger generation, they're like, I'm not trying to look like, the Arnold-esque type of guys. I want to look like a Rich Froning or those type of guys. And it's just I guess within CrossFit, the whole thing becoming popular now is really changed that mindset of where people want to achieve for their physical self, because it gave something where you can look at them like, man, I can wake up and I can do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
My hope, though, is that it isn't, and it doesn't seem like it is as of now, a real like fad.
Sure.
You know what I mean? My hope is that it'll transform exactly what it is, obviously, over time.
Right.
But that it stays like this. So let me give a really good example. This is very funny. All of my family is from Iceland.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
Hence the Viking.
The Viking,
got
the
it.
Viking look. So I don't know, a lot of my family still lives up there. Iceland was very well known for a long time. I mean, it's a country of 300,000 people. There's no one there.
Right.
But for some reason, they had like 3 of the top strongest men in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just build strongman. Yeah.
And strong women.
And strong women. But you can't just say that it was, just all genetics or something of people
Sure,
from there.
yeah.
It's also a culture thing.
Right.
But now what's happened is, you guys know this, there are some CrossFit, specifically women,
Yeah.
Yes.
from Iceland that are literally like
killing it.
dominating the
Yeah,
sport,
right.
And it's because, there were the world's strongest man stuff. There's a
Yeah.
lot of, it was a big deal. For, a lot of the guys from there, and then women kind of found an outlet to be
strong.
competitively strong.
Yes.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And had that outlet because it's a cultural phenomenon up there to be competitive in that fitness nature like that.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's a big deal. Big deal like
Interesting.
that. And
It's not frowned upon like it is in America.
like
From the average Joe, looking at the competitive fitness genre, far and away from professional sport.
Yeah.
The big 5: basketball, football, baseball, blah blah blah. Like, when you dive into CrossFit, when you dive into bodybuilding, especially as a female, a lot of the pushback you get is, why would you want to look like that? I don't want to look like that.
Yeah.
And so culturally, you don't get that in Iceland. Is that what you're like?
which is so weird. So first of all, I didn't grow up in Iceland,
Right.
but a lot of my family's from there.
Sure.
I feel like I got a good sense of it. What's weird is they do still hold a lot of that kind of misogynistic guys, the badass,
Right.
women here kind of thing. But they are such a liberal
Okay.
country. I mean, incredibly liberal. That there is women can. It's helped them.
Yes.
If that makes sense, right? Like they can do this, be a badass at it, and it's cool.
That's
Right.
awesome.
It's like a cool thing.
Okay.
And I've seen. I mean, they have I think I tried to look it up once, but they have 30 CrossFit gyms up there, and there's one town. I mean, there's literally there's Reykjavik. There's
Yeah.
There's a couple other small towns. My family's from Keflavik, but it's a couple thousand people. I mean, it's
Right.
really nothing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, which is just crazy if you think about it, because it's a thing to do, and
Right.
people have completely taken it in.
Yeah.
And I love when I saw that there were multiple females coming from there. It's awesome. It's a good sign because it means that it can give people an outlet
Sure.
for something to do.
And speaking about females, that's probably the one thing, definitely in my top 3 reasons to open a CrossFit gym is what it has done for women in fitness. Women are not afraid to jack some steel anymore.
Yep.
And at the same time, it's cool
Yeah.
to be strong as shit and maintain your femininity.
Right.
Because when you're
In fact, increases it.
yes,
Yes.
In fact, increases
Absolutely.
it, which is awesome.
walking on the fucking treadmill for hours on end doesn't give you the butt you want.
Yep.
Yeah,
Squatting 200
for sure.
it's gonna give you some booty.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The secret is out.
Yeah.
But
But you know what? It is still hard. I'll get, obviously, men and women that come into stores, whatever, and girls come in, and they ask you, what can I take that's going to help my butt get bigger? I mean, literally, this is the questions that we get. And it is understandable because it's like, you know what, people, but I like that they're asking that question rather than how can I lose 20 pounds?
Yes.
Which is
totally different.
So it is a totally different, and so they may be coming in totally going about trying to get that butt the wrong way. Right. But at least that's the end result that they want.
Right.
Like, how do I put on, what they're really saying, how do I get more muscle? Right.
Yeah.
Which is such a better answer and puts a smile on my face
Yeah.
rather than, because a lot of times we'll get women, I mean, a ton of women that come in. I want to lose 20 pounds.
But you don't even have 5 to lose.
I'll cut your foot off. I don't know. Fuck it. You want to lose 20 pounds?
Yeah.
Cut it off. I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose 20 pounds.
Right.
You want to be more fit.
Right.
And it takes a long time. Like, I know you deal with this because you're in the fitness industry, but a supplement store, it's 1,000 times more, is explaining to people the difference between losing weight and looking better or feeling better. A lot of times they miss on that part. Like we were talking about that earlier, right? Looking better, it should almost kind of be a byproduct of what you're doing, right? Like you're like the feeling better, the being more agile and the being confident and all that, being more fit is like kind of where you start, and then you look better because of it. Right. And a lot of people have that a little backwards.
Do you find it in the supplement industry or the nutrition industry itself? Have you seen a shift in the way women approach nutrition and supplementation? Because earlier in the days, you know, the women, they say, I don't want to look like a man working out like the way we do. And even when it came to nutrition or supplementation, they were scared to use creatine because they didn't want to get bulky like a man or take the proteins. Have you seen that shift in your industry?
Slow.
It's
slow. Yeah, you know, more so I think a lot of women now know that, like, you know, adding a healthy protein shake, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's cool. But it's still a dialogue that you have to have. And I'm sure you have to have that here as well. Like, no, I promise, like, you picking up that barbell isn't going to make you look like a dude.
Sure.
Right? It's going to give you more curves. It's going to give you better.
Right.
Right. And so that one's still slow. That one's still hard to move a little bit. But, you know, like we were talking about, you know, like fitness models or people on Instagram and, you know, that kind of stuff. And a lot of these ones I see that like girls follow, these girls are, you know, clearly have a ton of muscle and they're fit. And they're showing girls how to do like one-legged plyo, these moves from like the 80s or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that is.
Right.
And so they're still, I think, follow like in that trap a little bit.
Well, you know, and because supplementation and nutrition, there's a process involved. Just like getting in better shape, better condition, there's a process involved. And I think that some of the initial pushback in the very beginning is the fear of that process. When people walk into your store and you explain to them, you know, in a very step-by-step manner, what it's going to take for them to achieve whatever their end result is, kind of scares the shit out of them when they find out how much work is actually involved.
Yeah.
You know, there is no magic pill. There is no magic exercise that you can do one time and get to where you want to go. You know, going back to, you know, what we were talking about in the very beginning, consistency is everything.
Yep.
You know, if you eat right, train, and supplement correctly, consistently over time, you're guaranteed to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, but if you buy a tub of protein here, use it till it's gone, never use it again, your diet is shit, and you're only working out, you know, you're weight training once a week and running a mile once a week, you know, the chances of you getting to where you really want to go are slim to none.
Yep.
You know?
So, you know what is one, I have had this, and I'll say it's turned into an argument more than once with people. And, you know, you can even possibly disagree with me about this. We can go back and forth on this one. After doing this for, you know, a couple of years or whatever, I found out that, you know, the biggest hurdle is the mental hurdle with people.
100%.
Right. That is, that's where everyone really falls down at. Once people really start working out, you get addicted to the high. You like it. You love it, right? Once you start eating healthy, you like your regularity with your shits. You like, you feel better, right? You wake up better, you know, but you got to start it. You got to get going with it, right? And that's hard. And it
Yeah.
is a genuinely hard. So one thing about supplements, and this is what I have found over time, it is an easier place to start. So let me preface this by saying, is this the absolute best way to go about it? No. But I have seen a lot of success with this. And actually, I have seen more success with this than somebody starting out at a gym.
Okay.
Because of this. Creating a system is what I think in every area of your life allows you to maximize your potential. Yeah. So whatever you're doing, you want to start a business, you want to get in shape, you want to travel the world, it doesn't matter whatever it is if you can create a system that you can apply over and over and over and over and over again with consistency, you'll achieve a result.
Right.
If I can get somebody to come in, right, and we talk through their food and their workout and stuff, you know what? I hate eating vegetables. I don't like lean meat. I like cheeseburgers. I'm not going to go to the gym. And they're just up front. I don't like going to the gym. I don't like working out. But I can do this. I can give them a protein shake. They're going to buy a protein shake. They're going to buy, let's say like something to give them some kind of stimulant that's going to get them going right through the day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say, all you have to do is walk, from here to here for 15 minutes. Once, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You have to take these pills when you wake up and at lunch and a protein shake after you walk. People, because it's so simple to take a pill and it's so simple to just make a protein shake, they'll fall in a system, right? They'll then, when people really mess up with what they're eating is because they do it out of tilt of when they're supposed to. What I mean is like, I got done with work. I'm a little hungry. I'm not waiting until I get home. I'm going to go buy Wendy's. I'm going to pick up a burger. I'm going to get a shake too while I'm here. It's like fly off the hip that really where people mess up at. Because taking supplements is so easy. And I've seen this a million times. I mean it. That them just like getting on a system doing something that then all of a sudden like, okay, now they're regularly eating breakfast. Because right when they wake up in the morning, part of the system is you got to, first thing you do in the morning when you wake up, you take these pills. Yeah. Well, then, and I tell them, and you got to eat something because, having something on your stomach makes the pill a little better. Okay. So now they're eating breakfast every morning.
Right.
And they've gone from somebody who just orders pizza at night to now they're eating breakfast every morning.
Nice.
Right.
They're literally going to change their entire body and the way they look and the way they feel 1,000 times over from just that.
Right.
Because it literally from nothing else of that, it's a system.
Right.
And that is one thing I've seen that's happened that like I said, is it the best way to go? No. But a lot of people really don't want to eat healthy and go to the gym.
Sure.
But if I can get them to do that and then they see a result,
right,
then they're like, okay, what's this gym thing? All right, what is it that I got to do?
Right.
Right. And then you can get them to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Once or twice a week. A lot of times, and I see this with a lot of uneducated trainers, that they just start too hot and heavy too quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's too much too soon, and they don't like the way they feel because you feel terrible at first, and so they just quit. But a lot of times with something like that, it really, like, I can already, after having my 20-minute conversation with them, I can see that this is going to be a 6-month process.
Right.
Before I even really get them to eat some broccoli or to go to the gym or to try something out. But we're going to get there.
Right.
And it's going to, I mean, seriously, there's clients who I've had up there that I still work with down here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in St. Louis, and I still work with them.
Right.
Because they've been coming in for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it took them a year
right,
to really even get started with something like that.
Well, I find that's super interesting that you mentioned that, because that's the odyssey, right?
Yeah.
How do you get somebody to even take that first step, knowing that it's going to take 6 months, 9 months, a year before like it really starts to happen for them?
Yeah. Well, first, I'm lucky that, so let's say like exactly what I'm talking about. These are the people who normally, and first, like we're talking about the odyssey, how do you get them to do it for 6 months?
Yeah.
Well, you don't tell them. customers don't.
Right.
You can't. You cannot let them know
it's going
to take this long.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, literally. And part of the thing is that I'll make sure I give them the right kind of like stimulant that maybe isn't too stim heavy. It's got like some neurotropics in it.
Yeah.
Some kind of stuff that they just feel better on. If you feel better, like, oh, maybe I don't need a milkshake, right?
Sure.
It's simple stuff. It really is silly.
Yeah.
But that kind of person, they pay on this and they're like, all right, I kind of like that. You know what I mean? What's this other thing? You said something about a protein. What does that do? What is a protein, right? And so then I can kind of dive into this. Then that changes their food a little bit, and then they feel a little better. And what's lucky is, as you know, when you start, you see results kind of the quickest.
Right.
Yeah.
So if somebody changes the way they eat just a little bit and they're 300 pounds, you can get down to 270 pretty quick.
Right.
Sure.
Oh, they cut soda out because now they don't need the caffeine that's in the soda because they're taking, something else.
Right.
And they're, having a water or something instead. Boom, now we're down to 270. Okay, I see this. I like this. You know what I mean? Then we're in the gym. Then it's the next thing. Then it's the next thing. Before you know it, we're a 200-pound guy who's able to squat his body weight for 10 reps.
Right.
But it is. That's a year process.
Sure.
But I kind of know.
Right.
This is
you know that.
I know that.
But you don't let the cat out of the bag.
It sounds terrible, but I really don't. I really don't let them know.
Right.
Because I know that they're just not going to. As soon as I say, man, in a year from now, you're going to be killing it, they're going to walk out the door.
That's so smart, though, because you see it all the time when people do, internet marketing. So, if you tell them, okay, it's a get-rich-quick scheme, guys are like, I didn't happen in 6 months, and they just totally just give up or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so nice being in the dark because when you finally do get to that result of your destination, it just happens without you knowing in a way.
Well, so here's I don't tell anybody like, hey, in a month you're going to be here or there. What I actually tell them is about how good they're going to feel that moment.
Yes.
That's good.
And that's literally where I'll stick at. Now, if they really do ask me, because we have a dialogue, we have a conversation, like, hey, how long does this film take? When do you start seeing results? I'm not ever going to lie to anybody. But I'm going to start by just emphasizing, like, hey, if you cut out this one meal, you have this one protein shake, you take this that's going to give you a little more pep in your step during the day, you're going to feel fucking awesome.
Right.
Then they're just excited that they're going to feel awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all I want.
Sure.
I just want to start with that you're excited.
Right.
You're giving that mindset shift at that point.
And I feel like I get to deal with it possibly more than you do here at this gym, are people that are on the very far end of the bell curve of out of shape. Right? Yeah. I don't know how often you get somebody in here who's 350, 400 pounds and has never seen a gym before.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I see those people. You know what I mean? Somebody's wife brings her husband in because he needs to start somewhere, but he's too stubborn, doesn't want anything. You know what? With him, I've got 30 minutes of talking about Harleys before we even think about food, supplement, anything else.
Sure.
You got to bro them to know them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
Put that in the show notes.
I like that one.
I mean, how much of that? So, the guys who work for me, guys and girls, I would much rather get someone who can connect with people,
rapport,
than somebody who knows stuff about the fitness industry. I can teach my employees about fitness and about nutrition and about what is correct programming and stuff. Those are things you can learn. Hard to teach somebody how to connect with the other people.
True.
Right.
It's true.
That is I have not. If there is a way to teach people how to do it, I don't know how.
Yeah, it's very innate, and I think that's sales 101.
Yeah.
Is people, regardless of what you're pitching, are more apt to buy whatever it is if they like you and trust you.
Absolutely.
And if you're not able to bridge that gap, from stranger to bro, to friend, to confidant, to subject matter expert, and establish that trust bridge, it's extremely difficult, man. They're not as receptive to the information that you're giving them, regardless of how good or how in need they possibly are.
Yep.
We
get up. So it's so funny you saying that, like, knowing them and trusting them. I'll tell you what, it was something that we decided that we were going to do right off the bat. So if you come into a peak, I'll share one part of the business model is I carry everything. If you've seen it, I got it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to turn down any customers. If there's a weird little random casein protein from XYZ company, I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
I'm only going to have 2 in the store.
Sure.
But I'm going to keep it for you.
Right.
Because, I want to, every type of supplement I'm going to service people with. But we'll get people that come in and, after talking to them for a while, and I'll just, I do the same thing. We run through their diet. We go through all this information. Right. Man, that's not the right. Man, if you want to buy this product, I'm here to sell this product to you. But I would be doing a disservice by not explaining to you why it's not the best thing for you.
Sure.
And they'll leave empty-handed.
Right.
They'll leave the store with nothing in hand.
Uh-huh.
But then they'll bring me 2 of their buddies.
Right.
Every single time I see it. I mean, if you really, really do look out for people like that, it very rarely have I ever seen it been a negative thing on my business.
Right.
My guys, like the way that I'll go ahead and explain. I don't care. They don't make commissions by selling a certain product or by selling enough of a certain thing.
Right.
There obviously is a commission structure, but it has to do with the number of proteins that they sell versus other stuff.
Right.
And a big part is that I want them selling protein. In case you guys don't know, you don't make nearly as much money. You don't make very much money at all on protein.
Yeah.
It's the gasoline at a gas station, right? It's what brings you in there.
Right.
You make money on all the other stuff. But, like I said, it's what keeps people coming, and it gets them results.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
So, if I know that that's being serviced, right, and they're being taken care of that way, then that's how they get it. There's also a couple other points making sure that they stay in contact with the customer.
Right.
When they leave, that we keep contact and personal contact, not like a business email or something.
Right.
Hey, it's Chris from Peak Nutrition. What's going on? Just have an awkward phone call with them. Are you sticking to that diet? You're not? Well, dude, all right, what's going on then? I'm telling I make 10 phone calls a day. Every day.
Yeah.
That's huge, though, because it's that whole Gary Vaynerchuk methodology. It's just, jab, 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 right hook. And the jab is essentially just a give. So you're giving, and the right hook is the sell.
Yep.
But it seems like what you're doing is like you're continuing to give information, knowledge. You're giving, whether they walk out of your store with a product or not, they're getting some type of tangible, whether it's information, some type of thing that they can help them in their lives. And then they reciprocate that give by bringing more of their friends in. Yeah. I think it's the best model to work with. Or,
even themselves, like I said, if I can tell them that, like I said, they come in and and we get a lot of this, the bro that wants a pro hormone or something, right? Like I said, I carry everything. So the pros that are still legal, I got them.
Sure.
And I'm going to sell them too.
Yeah.
Right.
But I get the, 23 or 24-year-old guy who just got out of college and he wants to take the pro hormone because he wants to put on 20 pounds. Dude, that is awesome. I remember I took pro hormones back then. Dude, excited for you. What does your diet look like?
Right.
And we're going to sit there and have that conversation. And I'm going to tell them, because a lot of times, you may not have $100 to spend coming into a supplement store.
Yeah.
Let's just put this pro hormone to the side real quick. Dude, it'll be here. I promise, it'll be here next month. I'll hold it for you.
Yeah.
Let's do this first, right? Let's just make sure, right now, living on a diet of smash burger, it's probably not getting you exactly to where you need to be. And that guy right there, hands down, he's also going to do the awesome stuff. He's going to post on Facebook for me.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, oh, my boy James took care of me.
Yeah.
He's going to call me out. And it does take more work, but in the long run, it's by far and away the best way to go.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, because you get, from a business standpoint, you're far more interested in that long-term dollar.
Oh, God, yeah.
Than what you can make today.
Absolutely.
And
I always tell my employees, like, I want customers to come in. They should be coming back in like it's their grocery store.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this jug of protein, this is, what I take because I have a sweet tooth at night. And rather than eating a Kit Kat, I have my delicious little chocolate protein.
Yep.
Sets me, and then they're way healthier and better for it.
Yep.
Sure.
And I would much rather have that guy that comes in and buys one $30 jug of protein every month.
Sure.
Than somebody who came in one time, spent $400 on a bunch of stuff, and then said, fuck it, because it didn't work. And then writes this terrible review. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
I know exactly what you mean.
So, but there is a transition with customers, because you know what? A lot of customers want to do that. These are what God, I hate calling out brands. I probably won't do it. But the C4 guys.
Yeah.
You know what C4 is?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's like probably the big popular
It's
pre-workout.
rampant in here.
Rampant.
Yeah.
You can smell it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, C4?
I see
Yeah.
what you're doing over there.
Is that melon? Okay.
You know, they want to come in and they just want to buy up everything. And I don't, I'm not telling people that, like, buying supplements is the wrong way to go. But a lot of times what they do is they throw in too many things at once. How do you know what's working?
Right.
Literally, how do you know which one
What's
is
doing what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which one's really helping you out? Because maybe they did get a boost, but you started 4 things in 1 month.
You don't know what it was.
Which one was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, find your base, throw on a goodie every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw in some goodies. That's the way I do it. I mean, that is literally how I take supplements.
Yeah,
sure.
As a guy who gets his supplements for as cheap as you possibly can get them, I take consistently like 5 things. And then I'll throw in something else,
Yeah.
when I want to, I don't know.
So, I want to dive into that real quick. What is your stack?
What is mine, right? What is
Yeah.
the James stack? So
What is the
I'll call-
Stratman stack?
yeah, the Strat stack.
Brand that.
Copyright.
So I do take 2 types of protein.
Okay.
I take a slow digesting protein. A lot of that is, like you said here, I'm just in and out a lot. I don't think that everybody necessarily has to have a slow digesting protein.
Sure.
This is just like for in between meals, or if I miss a meal or something like we did this shoot here. I've got another appointment right afterwards.
Yep.
Then I've got a chiropractic thing, and then I've got to get this lease done.
Yeah.
I'm going to have one cooked meal that I'm bringing with me, but where am I going to microwave it at? So,
Right.
I don't know. So I have a slow digesting protein shake that I bring with me.
Cool.
At all times. I have an isolate protein with simple carbohydrate that I take post-workout. If I lift weights anaerobically, I do it every time.
Yep.
The reason for that, to spike my insulin level and to get fast digesting protein in there. That's pretty basic, right? That's just like protein, macro nutrients. Multivitamin and fish oil.
Okay.
Big fan of fish oil. First, I actually don't probably eat as much fish as I probably should. It's out of all the things, it's like the most difficult to cook.
Yeah.
It just is. It's like
Sure.
harder to do. And it really is that good for you. Getting, and because in most fish oils now, you don't need to take 4 different things. You can get all your omega fatty acids and CLA, ALA, linoleic acid, all those things.
Yep.
All in one convenient little source.
Sure.
So I take those every day. Now, I've been pretty big. I take glucosamine chondroitin.
Okay.
But that's kind of a newer thing I've thrown in. I got this like aching a little bit in my right knee, and so I just started taking it. And I'll be honest with you, there is really good research for it.
Yeah.
I've been taking it now 2 months, so I don't know if I can really give my full.
Yeah.
Hey, this is definitely thrown over for me. Then I do keep a superfoods vegetable green. Like it's basically just like freeze dried fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a powdered form.
Right.
That I'll take on certain days if I feel like I didn't get
Right.
everything I needed like that.
Right.
But it's got all the kale, all that stuff.
Yeah,
in there or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And I like taking it. It makes me feel really good.
Sure.
Nice.
There you go.
But that one's really not consistent. I'll be honest.
Okay.
Like the consistent ones are protein, multivitamin, fish oil.
Boom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool, man. I think that's a good spot.
That's really
Yeah.
good. Oh, one question I had in the supplement industry. What's your thought on the window, so to speak,
The
after a workout,
the
the
anabolic
anabolic
window.
window
The anabolic window.
that we've been taught so much? I had to ask that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know what? There actually is a complete answer for this.
Sure.
And it all depends, and this is what I mean, in the I like to call it the shades of gray, or whether you want to call it the bell curve of where you fall in it, right? So, how important, right, is certain going the extra little mile or whatever? How much does it mean to you, right? This is a big deal. If you want to live and eat and be healthy and make sure you're getting in the right amount of micronutrients and to be able to grow and sustain and feel healthy, it doesn't matter too much. Mm-hmm. It's in like in a years and years and years. If you're looking out like that, yes or no. But if just like anything else, if you work out once a week Is it dire to make sure that you do it? Not really. Mm-hmm. But if you lift 3 to 4 times a week, and I mean lift weights, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're doing anaerobic activity, using bar movements, things like that, it matters because of recovery, right? Mm-hmm. And so that anabolic window, it's not like you need to get it in an hour or whatever right in between that point. Yeah. But what most people don't realize is it's not just the protein. It's actually your carbohydrates, restoring your glycogen levels post-workout. Your body has to do that before it'll start repairing any muscle tissue. Mm-hmm. So let's say like you're eating enough protein or whatever during the day or through the week. Yeah. But you're busting ass in the gym. And in case anybody doesn't know, the only reason that muscles get bigger or stronger is because you are adaptively over time breaking them down, and then your body has to compensate to be able to do that same amount of measure of workload. Mm-hmm. And so it has to rebuild them, right? They have to fuse, or they have to actually create a new fiber. Mm-hmm. Well, your body will not do that. It will not go into an anabolic phase, and I'm going to be super nerdy. I'll go through the whole thing.
Let's go, man. Nerd out. Go for
it. Your body can only be in one of two phases. It can only be catabolic or anabolic. Mm-hmm. Catabolism is where we're breaking things down, which is a lot of times the body's got to be in that phase. Mm-hmm. That can be for fat, right? You have to catabolize that to break that down and use that fat as stored energy. Anabolism, being in an anabolic phase, is where we're building it back up so that way for the next time we're able to do it. Right. We're able to go through whatever that trial, whatever it is. Because that's how the body sees it. Like your body is just a machine.
Right.
It's kind of how it's seeing it. It will not go into an anabolic phase if you do not have the correct amount of stored glucose in your red blood cells. That comes first. Yep. So all the amino acids, it doesn't matter what it is, all the testosterone in the world is not going to do anything for you, and it's not going to help create anything else. Because your body, like I said, what it's doing, you went through this real tough workout. Okay, but I still need my main energy source, which is glucose, to be in my red blood cells first in case a tiger comes after my ass. I mean, that's what it's doing. It's like, so first, that is that important. That has to be refilled back up to sustainable amount. And then from there, we'll start rebuilding tissue, and we'll take care of everything else. Right. Because it's the body just wants to stay alive.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what it's trying to do. It's like, I need to be alive. Right. To procreate.
Right.
That's literally what it's doing.
Sure.
So, anabolic window. What I said is, and this is another one of those. I can go on for this one forever too. Is about the correct type of carbohydrates post workout. Mm-hmm. That means more than even, like we talked about the insulin spike post-workout, than even, whatever the protein is. Mm-hmm. And so that's why that window kind of matters, is it's not like if you don't get it in every time, you're going to die and you're going to lose all this muscle. Uh-huh. But if you're consistently not refilling your glycogen stores, and so your body doesn't have that readily available glucose, right? You're constantly falling apart. Mm-hmm. This is what I mean by when I talk about the paleo diet thing, is that like it's a great diet. It is a great way to follow. It's probably the most healthy, most nutritious way to go about eating in general. Yeah. But it's more difficult to refuel your body. Yes. And to stay at optimum level. There's a reason why top level, and I use them all the time, there's a reason why top pro level NFL athletes have simple carbs post-workout. Sure. There's a reason. Because literally their income is dependent on that. Right. So, if the top doctors in the world are telling these people to do this, I think they probably got the right idea.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, long-winded answer.
No, that's fantastic.
No, you're not going to die if you don't do it, but there's a reason to.
Awesome.
Sure.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah, man, I love going on them tangents.
Dude, I love that, man. I love that.
That's what this show is all about, man. Trying to figure out how deep the rabbit hole really goes.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my brother out at Camp Pendleton. He's a Marine, and he just got back from a deployment, and while he was gone, we started the show. So he's playing catch up right now. Yeah, and he's like, dude. Whatever you do, for me, keep doing it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
This shit is gold.
You know what, by the way, and saying that on there, we didn't get to talk about it. That is so awesome. Your the military background, right? I think that a lot of people don't realize how important that is, how influential that is to other people.
Sure.
It does mean a lot. I say that, so I talk a lot about like, I think that athletics and stuff is a really good thing for just all kids to do when they're younger. It teaches cohesiveness and team building, you know, all this. But so everyone knows I was not in the military, but a lot of my family was military brats.
Sure.
Right? And they were just better people than me from literally having done it. You know what I mean? And first, the cheesy, I want to say, you know, thank you.
I appreciate the support, man. Thank you.
All of that. While I'm on here, it's the only plug I'm going to make the entire time while I'm on here. I talked to you about him before. The Gary Sinise Foundation. So like between Peak and then my line, Modern Warrior, that's like my supplement line. What we do is we work really well with the Gary Sinise Foundation.
Yeah. They
help active military, veterans, first responders, so, you know, police and, you know, ambulance and stuff like that. If you're familiar, Gary Sinise is the guy who was in Forrest Gump.
Lieutenant Dan.
Played Lieutenant Dan. Yeah.
Yep.
He still goes around as like the Lieutenant Dan band and stuff. But that is an awesome organization. We work with them a lot, and so what we do is for every unit sold of Modern Warrior stuff, we donate $1 to the Gary Sinise Foundation.
That's dope.
They're one of the people who, you know, a lot of people don't realize how much people that were in the military, even when after they get out, they do for our communities. I mean, look at yourself. Seriously. Yeah. It's just a different minded person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who will just go out and create something better in the community.
Sure.
It's a big, big deal. So anyway.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you for everything you did.
Nah, man, I appreciate that, dude. Before we head out, we ask everybody this, and you can answer it on any level. Mental, physical, spiritual, whatever. What's one thing that you do every day to feed yourself, get the fire going, and then what's something that you do every day systematically, do or die, no matter what, to fuel yourself and keep the fire going?
So it's so way off of like anything that I actually do in my work life, which I think has actually become a good thing. But so my mom was a nuclear chemist.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's huge.
That's not a school teacher or a nurse.
No.
Okay.
She ended up, now she works, you know, she works in business, but, you know, that's what she was originally, that's what she went to school for. Growing up, I was just enamored by cosmology, physics, things like that. So I went to school initially, university to study physics. Now, clearly, I started doing it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be poor doing this. I can't have that at all. But, you know, like, I love fitness, and I love what I do. It obviously is, like, my passion. I love doing it. But I am blown away by it's so if you're familiar with, like, some of the famous kind of scientists now that are around, there's the cheesy one, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Mm-hmm. There's one guy who's come really, Elon Musk, who's the entrepreneur who's huge in this.
Tesla.
Yeah. I every single day I will watch, listen, some podcasts, some reviews, something like that about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it really does inspire me on a different level. I love hearing. It's like, it's so far advanced. Yeah. And it changes people's lives so much in such a big way. It then, like, so let's say I'll do that. One of the last things was I was, actually it's Elon Musk. He is going to put 4,000 new satellites up into the sky, right? More than there are now altogether from all the countries across the world, so that everybody in the world can have the internet. That then makes me, like, I watch some of that and I just get going. I remember it was just like 3 days ago. I read that. And then right after it, have you ever read the book, The Lombardi Rules?
No.
Vince Lombardi, football coach, whatever. Yeah. He has a book. It's called The Lombardi Rules, all that stuff. I finished the entire book right after I watched it because it just, like, inspired me to go do other stuff. And sometimes you just need that, like, your thing that gives you your catalyst to...
Right.
Like, gets you going.
Right.
I'm like, this guy is out here literally going to give everyone in the world free internet, I can sell some protein shakes. Like, I can do this. I believe in myself. So that is exactly what every day.
So that gets you started.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's so weird.
Yeah, and what keeps
That's
What keeps you going?
You know, it has changed over time, but lately it has been. So I came out here, and I had to find all new employees. Or a team to work with without having a store, without having any product show them. Just like, hey guys, come on. And it is every day now just been talking to them because now I think the ball's really rolling and we got things going and stuff. Seeing how excited they are about this thing that we're getting going. That one's been really getting me going. I mean, I think that is a new one that is going to stay for quite a while.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that one's really I got it right now. I've got two of them out taking a truck to go get it wrapped, like all the peak nutrition stuff all around it, and it's like they're more excited than I am about getting what do you want on it? What are we going to do with this? And just their level of enthusiasm has now made me like. I need to get two of them now.
Yeah.
I need another one. So, yeah, that's been really that lately has been the one.
Awesome, man.
That's cool,
Awesome.
man. And then where can our community support you? Everything you have going, starting your Peak Nutrition or anything you have going on social media?
Yeah. So I'm the Viking on everything, whatever. I'm James Stratman, but it's Instagram or what all the other stuff is, Snapchat, all that good stuff. Peak Nutrition, there's a website, peak-nutrition.com. There's just information on there. I don't sell anything on the website and stuff because once again, it goes against the my whole business model is to spend personal time with that person. So you buying a jug of protein online for me, it just doesn't. I don't feel like I'm accomplishing what I want to accomplish there. But in Scottsdale, we will be opening up January 1st. Thomas and Scottsdale Road.
Nice.
So it's just right down the street
Right up the
from
street,
here.
man.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about it being there. And then, like I said, marching down. So I promise if you're listening in Phoenix, we'll have a store close to you in the next couple months.
Congratulations
Awesome,
and everything,
man.
brother.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. Dude, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. You bring a lot of value. I want you to know that.
Oh, thank you.
Just not just in supplements and education, but just simply empowering everybody that you come in contact with. And, that's something that we make sure that we bring to the show in terms of guests are people that are infectiously enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And that's a genuine trait. You can't fake that shit.
Yeah.
And you have that, man.
Just wake up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm ready for it. Yeah.
You're one of those people that people encounter for the first time. You're like, how the fuck does this guy have this much energy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's awesome, dude. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. I appreciate it.
And for those of you listening today, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey. And we really, really hope that you enjoy being a part of ours. And until next time, feed me, fuel me.
See ya.
Peace.
Right.
And that'll do it for today's episode with our special guest, James Stratman, owner of Peak Nutrition. If you want to check out everything James has going with himself and his company, please go check out the full show notes at feedmefuelme.com. Also, be sure to connect with us on social media, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter at feedmefuelme. We would love to hear from each and every one of you. We're excited to announce the Feed Me Fuel Me Summit on July 10th, 2017 in Sedona, Arizona. Our keynote speaker will be Forrest Lustos. If you haven't had a chance to hear Forrest's story yet, be sure to check out his episode, number 19, Mastering the Superficial and Becoming Exceptional. It's guaranteed to fire you up and make you take action. We've released event details on the website, feedmefuelme.com. Click on the link Summit to purchase your ticket, and we'll see you there. If you found this episode inspiring in any way, please rate, comment, share, and subscribe so we can continue on this journey together. Also, be sure to share it with your friends and family on social media, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter, or any other social platforms that you use. We really appreciate you spending your time with us today and allowing us to join you on your journey. We would love to hear your feedback on this episode, as well as guests and topics for future episodes. To end this episode, we would love to leave you with a quote by Andy Frisella. Real success is not defined by what you accomplish, It is defined by how you are helping others accomplish. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next episode.